What if I told you that you could be worshiping God with all your heart, and still doing it the wrong way? Because not all worship is accepted by heaven. Cain worshiped too, but God rejected his offering, not because it wasn't sincere, but because it wasn't obedient. That's the warning most believers miss. You can sing the loudest, raise your hands the highest, and still have a heart that's far from God. Jesus said in Matthew 15 verse 8, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me." Real worship isn't measured by what comes out of your mouth. It's revealed by what lives in your private life. You might worship publicly, but secretly chase idols of approval, pride, comparison, or comfort. Worship becomes fake when it's fueled by performance and not surrender. When your worship depends on the song, the crowd, the vibe, or the feeling, you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping an experience. And here's the hidden danger: Satan doesn't mind you worshiping, so long as it doesn't transform you. He was a worship leader in heaven. He knows how to make worship look powerful but keep it spiritually empty. True worship isn't just an act, it's a war. Romans 12 verse 1 calls it a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. That means worship costs something. It costs your ego. It costs your comfort. It costs your plans. And if you're only offering God what's convenient, it's not worship, it's religion dressed in noise. God rejected Cain's offering because it wasn't his best, it was his leftovers. Are you giving God your leftovers? Leftover time? Leftover focus? Leftover devotion? Because God doesn't want your routine, He wants your heart. And that's why He allows your comfort zones to shake. Sometimes your life falls apart not because God's absent, but because He's calling you into real worship, the kind that doesn't require a stage, a spotlight, or an audience. The kind that says, "Even if you don't bless me, I'll still bow." That's what made Job's worship so powerful, not that he praised in blessing, but that he worshiped in the ashes. You may be worshiping wrong if your praise disappears when your plans fail. Worship isn't a tool to get God to do what you want. It's a response to who He is, even when nothing makes sense. And here's the sobering truth: some of the loudest worshipers are the quietest compromisers. They know how to sing about surrender without actually living it. They lift hands on Sunday but hold onto secret sin on Monday. That's not worship, that's a performance. And God sees it all. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 says, "Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart." So the question isn't, did you sing loud? The question is, did your worship reach heaven? Not every sound moves God, only obedience does. When Abraham was willing to sacrifice Isaac, God called that worship. It wasn't about a song, it was about surrender. Some of you are stuck because you've turned worship into a spiritual transaction instead of a surrendered lifestyle. You think, if I worship hard enough, God will bless me. But that's manipulation, not faith. Worship is not about controlling God's hand, it's about trusting His heart. So if your worship has become about what you want instead of who He is, it's time to repent. It's time to stop offering emotional hype and start offering spiritual sacrifice. God is still seeking worshipers in spirit and in truth, not in style and volume. So here's your warning: don't confuse noise for nearness. Don't mistake emotion for encounter. Don't let your lips speak what your life doesn't reflect. Because worship that doesn't transform you is not worship. It's deception wrapped in a melody. Tear down the idols. Silence the performance. Lay down your will. And worship God, not with just your voice, but with your choices. That's the kind of worship hell fears. That's the kind of worship heaven receives.